and record. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Welcome to the Let's Connect session with MCDC Time Zone 2. We have Spanish interpretation and Arabic, so please refer to the little globe at the bottom of your screen where it says interpretation. And we will begin. We have MCDC members here with us who will share a little bit about what is Movement Charter and the work that they do here. Next slide, please. So what is this learning clinic about? It's about explaining and discussing the Movement Charter. This is time zone 2, not time zone 1. Next slide, please. A beautiful picture of the lovely faces of the team of Movement Charter. We have some of them here with us today, and we'll get to hear from them shortly. Next slide, please. And to begin, what is the culture of Let's Connect? If you haven't been here before, welcome. If this is your first time with Let's Connect, I thank you so much for being patient with us with the technical difficulties. Let's Connect is a peer learning program where people and organizers from across the movement can come together and be in a safe space with each other to learn from different communities on what they're doing in their time zone within their cultural context. We are here to have a good time. As always, we want to make sure that people come into this space to learn skills, transfer knowledge and skills, or learn from the mistakes that certain communities have faced when organizing, to feel comfortable and confident to share those mistakes and what they've learned from them. And then also just to communicate on how you want to transfer that information into your own cultural context, no matter what experience you bring to the table. Next slide, please. And so why are we here today? For our learning outcomes, our participants will be able to understand the significance of Movement Charter, why it is so important to contribute to its discussion, and the spaces to do this is here right now, live in action. And you all will be able to have just a better understanding in live of what it is to mean for the Movement Charter to be in its drafting mode right now, how they can contribute, particularly around representation, global council, access to resources, hubs, and roles and responsibilities. Next slide, please. Here's an overview of our agenda. After my welcome, we will do about an icebreaker with each other. We'll go through a presentation, which will cover the basics, a little fun quick quiz, another second part of the presentation, Q&A. We'll have some breakout room time with each other to talk, some practical exercises about Movement Charter, and then we will close it out for today. Next slide, please. And I will pass it on to my fellow team member, Corona, for our icebreaker.
Thank you very much, Cassie. So I sent a link in the Jamboard, and I can share my screen now. So Shino, can you please stop screen sharing so I can do the Jamboard? So for many of the members of the community, Movement Charter and like MCDC is not that clear enough, and it can be a little bit confusing. So today we will represent that in a way of movies. So can you please enter the Jamboard and tell me, when you think about the Movement Charter, when you think about MCDC, what movie comes to your mind? What movie type? Is it a comedy? Is it a mystery? Or maybe a scary movie? So let's go to the Jamboard, and can you please just use these stickers and move them across the screen to the movie type you think about when it comes to Movement Charter? Is it a complex movie, maybe Inception, or maybe a movie mystery? So let's go to Jamboard and use these stickers to describe Movement Charter. You can also type in the chat if it's easier for you. Or maybe think about some movie that comes to your mind when it comes to Movement Charter. maybe Inception is like a really good example of a complex movie. But I'm sure after this learning clinic, everything will be very clear and it will not be a mystery anymore. So what movie type does remind you of Movement Charter? And we have Inception in the comment, in the chat. Yeah, that's right. I will move that here. So I think it's reading. Oh, for someone is adventure. That's a good one. It can be a little bit of an adventure, Movement Charter activities. And we will hear about that today. So stay tuned. Oh, someone is pointing to a scary movie. Why is it scary? I don't think about Movement Charter in a scary way. I hope it won't be scary after today. Okay, so as many of you agrees, it can be a little bit adventurous. Sometimes it can be a bit scary, maybe. It can be a mystery. But I think we all agree it's a very complex thing, some kind of like Inception. But I'm sure that after today, when we hear from our dear MCDC members, we will understand the point of Movement Charter and how we can include, how we can raise our voice, and how we can be involved in our movement and do something better for our community. Thank you very much for participating in this icebreaker activity. I will pass my voice to Karal, who will give us a really great presentation about Movement Charter. So stay tuned and good luck.
Thank you so much, Corona, for this activity. And let's also pull up the slides for a presentation portion. So we are here covered today to connect on the Wikimedia Movement Charter conversations and understand more of that. And I'm providing a bit of high-level framing of what's going on. And then we have the three wonderful Movement Charter Drafting Committee members who have joined us today for deeper content and contextual dives. So Anas, CEO, and George are on the call with us. And later on, they will guide us through the content of the Charter. But let's go with the framing of and context. Next slide, please. As you have already understood, we have a Movement Charter Drafting Committee. And here on this slide, you see these wonderful people in action in different locations, analyzing, having discussions, going through the content of the Charter. And essentially, it's a group of people representing the diversity of perspectives we have in the movement. There are elected members who came together through the public vote. We have selected members by the affiliates, and we have two people appointed by the Wikimedia Foundation. So really a cross-cutting group with a wide range of perspectives connecting to the different parts and stakeholders of the movement. Next slide, please. What we are doing is writing a charter. And what is a charter? So on a really, really high level, we have a definition. Like we start with Wiki article. A charter is a document that sets out rights, authority, and privileges. The Wikimedia movement doesn't have one. So there have been discussions for a long time, and we will get to that point, but currently there is no binding connecting movement charter, and the idea is to write one. And the idea there is to write a document that will consolidate our values and principles. We've have had organic growth for 22 years in the movement. Our ecosystem is very, very complex, and there are many, many stakeholders involved. And the movement strategy conversations, deeper dive on the governance matters has surfaced and recognized that we need a revised governance structure for the movement, or more clear structure to govern this complexity. And this was captured in the movement strategy recommendations, namely in the recommendation number 4, ensure equity in the decision making, which also mentions the charter. Next slide, please. So why do we need a charter? Let's get to the significance of a charter and the value proposition. So we had a really, really deep dive into the future of the movement in 2017 when we were discussing where are we heading. And we as a movement came together up with a strategic direction, which reads, by 2030, Wikimedia will become the essential infrastructure of the ecosystem of free knowledge. And in addition, very importantly, it says, anyone who shares our vision will be able to join us. The idea of the writing of a charter is that it will really serve as guidance moving towards that future, being a roadmap and helping us to implement the movement strategy recommendations overall, but also making it more clear for the people who will be joining us how we function, what are their roles and responsibilities in movement. So that's the significance part of the charter. It will clarify the responsibilities and relationships among all the different contributors and participants of the movement. Volunteer communities, organizations, including Wikimedia affiliates, also Wikimedia Foundation, and then the future bodies we envision to have, like the Global Council and the hubs. And the charter will be a central document for a movement, which will define the future structures, and also it should lay the basis for all the different policies on governance that help to navigate the Wikimedia landscape, both for the ones who are already there here and also the ones who will be joining us. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, this has been a very historic effort. Like, there have been long-standing discussions regarding these matters. They started early in 2000s, and then there was a more conscious effort made in 2005 to have discussions around Wiki Council. That was proposed to function as a representative body for all the Wikimedia projects. This was resurfaced during the Movement Grows project in 2010-2011. And already there, you can find on Meta an initial movement charter draft. Like, there was a really clear idea to have a charter. And again, with Wikimedia chapters associations and chapters dialogue, similar discussions surfaced in the affiliate conversation. So this is more affiliate, not project community related. And they had discussions, okay, how do we have more clear roles and responsibilities distributed between the foundation and the affiliates, etc. And then we came to the strategic direction that really laid the ground for the conversations we are having now. Next slide, please. As I said earlier, the movement charter recommendation comes from the recommendation 4 of the Wikimedia 2030 recommendations, namely ensure equity in decision making. So this is about more equitable approaches to the movement governance. And this reads that our movement will make decisions that are contextualized, because solutions to common challenges can differ from one part to another. There is an idea that more equitable approach to governance will help us to make decisions that are relevant in more contexts and take account these different contexts. And we aim for shared responsibilities and inclusion. So the hope also is that with the charter, with a clear outline of roles and responsibilities, we will have distributed agency in the movement. And as the narrative goes, the idea is that if we have the movement charter, then it will be possible for people to understand how they can take part. It provides a sense of belonging and also the clarity regarding the ways of participation. The movement is complex, and it is important that we organize better among ourselves, especially if we talk about collaborative activities across the communities and organizations. And also it is important to move towards the consent and agreement regarding what the global council model, for example, should be. So we need to come together in a clear way. And that's why we would like to have input from everyone. So we write the charter in a way that is inclusive of a diversity of perspectives. And that's why we are having this Let's Connect call and the invite you all to let the Movement Charter Drafting Committee know how proposed changes and ideas can enhance the participation in the global movement and also eliminate barriers to the involvement, as recommended also by the strategic direction. Next slide, please. How can you participate is that we have content pages on Meta. So there are talk pages on Global Council, hubs, and roles and responsibilities drafts. There was an open session held on Thursday, the 5th of October. This is now rewatchable on YouTube. I can share the link in the chat. So if you want to rewatch that, you can do that. And there is a plan to have the next open drop-in call beginning of November. So that's a very, very high level introduction. And I'm happy to hand it over for a bit more of fun activity regarding the Movement Charter. I am complete.
Thank you very much, Karel. I think it was a very useful presentation, and we will share these slides after the session. This is a learning clinic with the time zone number 2. So we already have some of these materials online for people asking in the chat about the link to the slides, but we will also share the link to all of these slides and also the Google and also the recording of this learning clinic for all of you. So it will be available. I have shared the link in the chat for our previous resources that we have collected during our learning clinics. And I'm really hopeful that you were listening very carefully to Karel in this slides number 1, because now we will have a quick quiz happening for all of you. Okay, just a moment. I will be sharing my screen, but before that, let me send you a link to this quiz to the chat. Cassie has already shared it. Okay, so let me do the screen sharing. Just a moment. Okay, let's go. Are you ready for this quiz? I hope you are. I mean, it's not that hard, but we have some of the most important information today here. So we are waiting for players to join. Okay, we already have 8 players. That's amazing. We have Cass, we have Anas. Let's go, people. We have some funny music as well. I hope it's not too loud. So in this quiz, we will have, as I said, like summed up most important information about Movement Charter and what is actually going on there. So I hope you were listening carefully. The faster you answer, the more points you will get. So pay attention to that as well. So people are joining. I love to see this. Let's see what we have learned until now. Oh, wow. 19 players so far. Love to see that. Let's wait for a couple more seconds to start this quiz. Okay, are you ready? Let's go. So question number 1. Be fast and be correct. So the MCDC is a group of people elected by Wikimedia Foundation to draft the charter, a cool rock band, a small global council until a larger council is formed, or diverse members from projects, affiliates, and the WMF drafting the charter. Time is up. Okay, everyone got the correct answer. Great job, people. So it is diverse members from projects, affiliates, and the WMF drafting the charter. Let's go to question number 2. Okay, so Shinu got the Shinu is on the top right now, but I'm very happy to see that all of you got the correct answer. So please keep in mind, be fast and be correct. Let's go to question number 2. So the movement charter is made for affiliates in the movement, for any volunteer in the movement, or for all individuals, groups, and organizations involved in the movement, or for establishing the role of the Wikimedia Foundation. 3, 2, 1, and time is up. So the correct answer is for all individuals, groups, and organizations involved in the movement. Many of you got the correct answer, and let's see the leaderboard now. Oh, wow, great job. Lorenzo is taking the top spot. Congratulations. Let's go to question number 3. So the Wikimedia Foundation requested the movement charter. Is it true or is it false? What do you think? Or maybe, is it a maybe? I'm not sure, but we have like 2 options to choose from. So what do you think? Is the Wikimedia Foundation requested the movement charter? 3, 2, 1, and time is up. It's false. The movement strategy actually requested the movement charter to exist. And Lorenzo is rocking the longest streak, and it's still on top of the leaderboard. Congratulations. Let's go to question number 4 of 7. When is the movement charter ratification vote expected to take place? What do you think? You have to type in the year of when do you think is the movement charter ratification vote expected to take place? Is it maybe 2057 or I hope a little bit earlier than that? And time is up. Correct answer is 2024. So 10 of you got it right. We hope it will be it will take a place in 2024. And Lorenzo is still rocking the longest streak. Shinu is getting closer. Anas in the 3rd place, and rest of you are a little bit slower. So let's get faster and let's give a correct answers. So question number 5. What chapters will the charter include besides the preamble and glossary? Is it values, principles, roles and responsibilities, hubs, global council? The second option is global council and hubs. third one, fund distribution and grants, and the final one, principals, affiliates, roles and responsibilities, fundraising and global council. So the correct answer is option number 1, values and principles, roles and responsibilities, hubs, global council. 11 of you got it right, so that's amazing to see. Let's see the leaderboard now. And wow, Lorenzo is not giving up on his first spot. Amazing. Let's go to question number 6 and see if the situation is going to change after this. So the current draft of the Movement Charter is 90% ready, only small changes by the MCDC are needed. Still open for feedback by all stakeholders. Is it open for feedback only on Meta by online contributors, or is it under WMF review before approval? Time is up. And the correct answer is that the current draft of the Movement Charter is still open for feedback by all stakeholders, and that includes all of you. So please give a feedback to Movement Charter and give your opinion about the things and activities they are doing. And now let's go and see the leaderboard. Wow, Lorenzo, great job. Anas is on the second place right now. Then we have Musa, Shin, and it's a little bit harder for me to see the rest of you. Okay, and we have Bukola and everyone else. Okay, thank you very much for that. But we are getting to our last question for today. After that, we will have a little bit more activities to do, but let's see who will win this quiz. It can all be changed with this last question, so get ready. Question number 7 of 7. So what do you think? Is this statement true or false? If I am new to the Movement Charter, if I'm new to the movement, sorry, I should not give feedback on how the Global Council should be elected. What do you think? Is it true or is it false? If someone is new to the movement, should they give their feedback on how the Global Council should be elected? Time is up. And the correct answer is that this statement is not true. So everyone should give a feedback, no matter your experience in the movement and no matter how much time did you spend, because even though if some people are new to the movement, they can give a really good and fresh perspective on the things we are doing. So it can be really, really useful. And now, are you ready to go to the leaderboard and see who is the winner of today's quiz? Because I am ready. And we have our winner, that is Lorenzo. Congratulations. And on the second place, we have Anas. And on the third place is Shinu. Thank you everyone for participating. Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope this quiz was useful for you, and I hope that it gave you some new info and some of the things that I hope we clarified some things. So as I said, after this quiz, please do not exit. We still have some things to do. So let's go to the next slide, and please just press on your screen the next slide, and then it will pop up a place where you can type in the word that you can describe the Movement Charter with. So in one word, what does the Movement Charter mean to you? We have words like communities, we have togetherness, committee, inclusion, and adventure, which is, I think, an amazing word to describe the Movement Charter. Do we have any more words? Maybe. I think also the community is really good description, because it does bring all of us together and it does affect us all. So we have to participate and we have to be included. Inclusion as well is very, very important one, and togetherness, because we all have to be included in this. if you want to type in the words after this, after we finish this part of the learning clinic, you can do that. Your feedback is really important to all of us in the Let's Connect, but also the Movement Charter. So thank you everyone for joining. I think I give you a little bit more time. Okay, yeah, now participants are typing. You can share your thoughts. Participating, okay, that's also very important because we can all participate as we saw in the quiz. We can all give feedback. Okay, the words are coming. That's amazing. Document, that's correct. Equity, which is so important for all of us, and the thing that is really one of the most important principles of our movement. Okay, so if you want to share your thoughts after this part of the session, please feel free to do that. If not, I would really like to thank all of you for participating in this quiz, for sharing your knowledge about the Movement Charter, and also for sharing one word that you would use to describe Movement Charter with. Thank you very much, everyone, and I giving my word to MCDC members to continue their presentation. Thank you.
Hello, my hand has been up.
Yes, Ngozi, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was not participating in responding to the questions because I don't know how to do it. I asked a question in the chat, but there was no response. Although we have passed that stage now, but it is good that we are told how to handle issues like this when they arise, so that we become actually participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you for raising that. I'm sorry we missed your question in the chat. We will take that into note and consideration, Ngozi. Thank you for letting us know. Anas, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. Please, if anyone can share the slides of the presentation. Before I present, maybe due to the results of the quiz, it's better that Lorenzo makes the presentation. No, I'm just joking. No, I will present. Don't worry, Lorenzo. So first of all, my name is Anas, and I am a member of the MCDC. I am from Morocco. And in this meeting here, we have also Seal from the Netherlands and George from Cameroon, who are members of the MCDC. I think those are the ones I saw in the meeting. And we are also closely working with Karel and Ida, who are our part of our Wikimedia Foundation staff support team. So today I will talk about the draft of the charter that we have written so far. And this hopefully will trigger fruitful and good discussion among all the participants. I don't know if I'm the only one who doesn't see the slides. I think they're loading. But I will start with the first part, which is the Global Council. So as we saw in the quiz, and as Karel has presented, the Movement Charter is going to be a document with different chapters. And each chapter is going to cover a number of areas. And the sum of all these chapters is going to be the charter. And the charter is going to have different purposes, but one of the main purposes is that it's going to be a document that is for all of us, so that we together, when we read that charter, we feel belonging to the movement and we understand the same thing when we read it. It's similar to a constitution for a country. And one of the main areas that the charter comes with is the Global Council. So the Global Council doesn't exist now. It's something that will exist in the future, and the charter is defining it. So what we have here is an attempt to define this Global Council through this first draft. So the draft was written in July this year and was presented in several places, mainly in Wikimedia, but also in different community conversations online and in person in regional conferences. And this is basically what we are saying about the Global Council. So we say in the draft that the Global Council is a governance body responsible for development and implementation of movement strategy. It improves accountability and transparency for movement-wide decision-making, and it simplifies access to movement resources and empower individuals and communities in hopes of nurturing trust between stakeholders. So basically, what I really want to be clear with, one of the words actually I wrote in the quiz about the charter is clarity, is that the draft that we have written and this definition is a proposed definition. So this is not the final definition of Global Council, or this is how the Global Council will be. This is a proposed definition that is up for discussion. Also, one other important thing that we really need to consider when we talk about these aspects, either the Global Council or its definition or its role, is that this is emerging from what we have had before. So as Karel presented, we had the recommendations from the movement strategy, and the Global Council was mentioned first there. So the MCDC, when sitting, was taking all these aspects into consideration when drafting these definitions. So the purpose, or the proposed purpose, of the Global Council is that, according to this first draft, the Global Council will have different purposes and responsibilities. It will advise the Wikimedia Foundation on fundraising efforts. Currently, the Wikimedia Foundation is doing these efforts alone. It will establish standards and guidelines for equitable dissemination of funds. This, if I need to clarify this further, it means that in terms of grants, or in terms of how much amount or money is allocated to different regions, the Global Council will establish standards and guidelines for that. The Global Council will ensure inclusive and transparent decision-making processes. It will create or modify committees. Here also, maybe I can dig a little bit into the details. So those of you who have engaged with the affiliation committee, the AFCOM, or with the language committee, LANCOM, or even other committees. So it is proposed in this draft that the Global Council will work very closely with these committees, and they will even report to it. Currently, most of them are reporting to the board. I think language committee and AFCOM are reporting to the board. It will also create channels to simplify access to resources, and it will ensure accountability. And all this will be happening, of course, depending on the structure of the Global Council. So how this Global Council will look like will also impact its responsibilities. And here you will see, because I have mentioned the structure, that the Global Council does not yet have a defined structure. It's something that is in discussion. And one thing that we really wanted to do when we would engage with all of you and with all the communities is to propose different scenarios, because we didn't want to say that this is exactly how the Global Council will look like. We wanted to share different scenarios and see what everyone thinks about it, what are the advantages of the first scenarios, the inconvenience, and also what's the advantage or the inconvenience of the second scenario. Basically, the high-level structures that we have are two: either that the Global Council is an executive body, or an executive body with an advisory board. To be even more explicit, the discussion here is if the Global Council should be a small group or a bigger group. This is a huge generalization, but I will get into the details later. So let's suppose the Global Council is an executive small body, then it will look like maybe a group of 15, 17 people from different backgrounds who will sit and be part of that Global Council. If we take the second scenario, it's going to be the same maybe number of people, but it will be also having a larger advisory board. So it can have, for this advisory board can also be in different types. It can be that both the Global Council executive body and advisory body are selected or elected on the same time, or it could be that there is a larger group of people that are selected or elected, and then among these people, a smaller group would be the Global Council. So these were the structures that we have identified and put in our drafts. But I have to acknowledge something, which is that this draft was written in July 2023. And between the time we wrote the draft and now, there were a lot of discussions in Wikimedia, in different online conferences or calls. And there are other opinions that are also valid and that you are also welcome to talk about. So there is the opinion that the Global Council should be a General Assembly, which is a little bit different from both these scenarios, because a General Assembly means they don't have a small executive body. They will have just one body that is big and decides together. There is also the idea of not having a Global Council at all, that maybe we should not think about having a Global Council. So all these options are on the table. And the reason why we have this call is to present these options to you, and of course to be able to discuss them with you. So that's the part of the Global Council. Then we have the next chapter that is a very important topic for our movement, which is the hubs. If we can go to the next slide, please, about hubs. So we wrote a draft about hubs. I think that most of you are familiar with this concept and have heard about it at least once. So hubs are regional and thematic structures. They are not both regional thematic, they're either regional or thematic structures that are there for mutual support. So the purpose of a hub is mutual support. It has members, and they are within the Wikimedia movement, and they're there to learn, to share knowledge, to develop best practices. Basically, they are there to collaborate and work with each other and share with each other. And the goal of the hubs is to empower existing and future Wikimedia communities to have capacity and resources to make and implement their own decisions and to meet their different needs. I think that this is a pretty clear definition. And again, most of you have heard about hubs and maybe are even involved in hubs initiatives. So, making affiliates coming together or different groups coming together to work for one common purpose and to help each other. So this is the general definition. If we go a little bit deeper, you see that we have also tried to define some practical aspects about hub. In this case, you can see membership and composition. So in our draft proposal that we have written, we're saying that the hubs can have two types of focus, either regional, so geographic. I'm sure you have heard about, for example, Iberocoup or ASIAP or CEE or Earth in East Africa. These are all probably future hubs that are regional, so they are from the same area, geographic area. But there are also thematic hubs that are a proposed type of hubs, and probably you have also heard of some of them. For example, Wikifranca. So Wikifranca is not in the same geography. You have France, you have Canada, and you have areas in Africa. And this could be also a hub because of its thematic focus, or a partnership hub, etc. So these are the two types of focuses that are in hubs. A hub requires, according to this draft, a minimum of 2 Wikimedia affiliates as founding members. So you cannot have a hub just with the gathering of individuals, of people. You must have a minimum of 2 Wikimedia affiliates. When I say you must have, I say according to this draft. But of course, again, as we saw in the quiz, this is up to discussion, and we are very open and flexible to hear your different opinions. Then also, Wikimedia affiliates can be members of more than one hub. So if you are part of a user group or of a chapter, don't worry, it will not be that your group needs to be only in one hub. So if your group is interested about different areas or is in different regions, it's possible to be part of different hubs and collaborate. Of course, being mindful of not burning out or going more than your capacity. And the responsibilities of the hubs were also described in our draft. So the hubs must have a clearly described purpose in one of or more of the areas that we have, which are either support or coordination. So a hub should either do support or coordination. And even in support, there are different defined areas. So you can support through delivering a service, or through capacity development, or sharing knowledge, or giving resources. So to be a hub, you can do one of these things, and if you do it well, you are a hub. So you don't need to do everything. You can just do capacity development in one area. And the same for coordination. So it can be regional and thematic coordination, about networking, about other things. I think I lost the slide, or maybe I'm out of time. But anyway, what I can say more about the responsibilities. Yes, I think the responsibilities of the hubs is that the hubs could organize themselves to do event coordination, so regional events and things like that. Again, we don't have only hubs in Global Council, we have other chapters as well. For example, roles and responsibilities. So it's a chapter that is part of the movement charter. We have it also as a draft. And basically, roles and responsibilities are about establishing roles and responsibilities in the movement. So we have different actors and different stakeholders in the movement. For example, the Wikimedia Foundation, we have the board of trustees, we have different types of affiliates, we have the projects, we have individuals, volunteers. All of them are part of the movement, and all of them have different roles and responsibilities. So this chapter, even in its drafted version, tries to clarify the different stakeholders that we have and their roles and responsibilities. You know, in governance, the most important thing is to know who is doing what, because this is how you can establish, for example, accountability. To be accountable, you need first to know who is doing a task that is supposed to happen. Then you can establish the accountability that is very important and crucial for governance. We have also other chapters, for example, the chapter about ratification. And that chapter is specifying how the ratification is happening. So it's a proposal for a methodology of the ratification. And in our draft, we're saying that the movement charter must be ratified by 4 different voting groups, which are the individual contributors, the Wikimedia projects, the affiliates, and the Wikimedia Foundation Board of Trustees. So if we want to have a charter that is implemented and that is active, these 4 groups need to ratify it. And this is something that we are writing in our draft. Also, we have another chapter about the values and principles, and we talked about it a bit in the quiz as well. So the values and the principles are essential in our movement. And that's what I said when I mentioned in the beginning, the purpose of the charter. So the purpose of the charter is to explain what we in the movement agree about. What are things that anyone in the movement or any actor in the movement or any entity in the movement needs to agree about. If you disagree with these values and principles, it will be difficult for you to be part of the movement. Maybe something simple could be free knowledge. So if you are saying that we have to pay to access Wikipedia articles, then maybe it's very difficult for you to agree with what we have in the movement currently. Also, another reason why we have values and principles written in the charter is not only to establish an agreement between all, but it's also to be a sort of reference for people who are not part of the movement today, or for partners. So imagine that you are going to do a partnership with a potential partner. It will be easy for you to just show them the charter and saying these are our values and principles. Or for example, if you are in some editathon, or you're engaging with newcomers, then you can easily present to them and tell them these are our values and principles. So when someone wants to join the movement, they know already what we have as values and principles. I think that's what we had for this presentation. Currently, we are in the stage of reshaping this draft. So there was a lot of feedback that was received in Wikimedia and in other discussions, and we're taking all this feedback in order to make this new iteration of draft. So the draft that we have proposed, as mentioned, was written in the summer, and now we are working together with the team in order to take in this feedback and trying to have the new iteration of drafts for all the chapters that we are writing. We have also important information for you, which is that there are movement charter ambassadors who are many in different areas of the world, and they are having conversations that are happening currently now from September to November. And it's very, very important for you, if possible, to engage with these movement charter ambassadors, or you can engage also directly with us at the movement charter drafting committee, because we want to hear feedback and opinions, and we want to hear ideas from all parts of the movement, from all the countries, from all the backgrounds, from everyone. No matter if you are a newcomer or very experienced, it's very important for us to know what you think about these drafts. And the report that, as Ida mentioned in the chat, was collected from the discussions that were happening before, and it will be shared very soon. But even if the report will be shared, it doesn't mean that you cannot give your feedback. You can always give your feedback, and we at the MCDC are open to all feedback and want to hear all the different opinions through different means and channels. And yes, you can get involved through many channels. One of them is Let's Connect, and that's why we are here. So if you need anything, you can also reach to the Let's Connect team, and they will guide you to the MCDC, or you can share directly to us. We usually have pink t-shirts with MCDC logo. So I think that's it. And if you have any questions, please feel free, or we can also go to the next section as you like. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anas. That was really amazing. And the good thing in our Wikimedia movement is that we have a lot of channels where we can give our opinion, our feedback, and raise our voice. Sometimes it can be confusing, so we can like maybe a little bit clarify in this Q&A part where we can give a feedback, because we had one question about that. And I will share my screen now, just a second. So, welcome to Q&A part of the session of today's learning clinic. So as I was saying in the chat, you can ask your questions for MCDC members in the Jamboard by double-clicking on one of the notes, and then you can start writing, or you can add your question by clicking on the icon of the sticky note on the left side of your screen and ask your question. But also Jamboard can be confusing sometimes, so please feel free to use a chat as well. So if anything is still not clarified enough, because movement charter is a really complex thing, and it has like a lot of parts and a lot of info that we have to remember. So please feel free to raise your voices and ask questions. So we have already gathered some of the questions that we can talk in this part of the session. So maybe we can start with one of the questions that I have already mentioned. Where are the or where is the discussion happening? Is it on Meta? So does any of you MCDC members want to answer to this? Maybe Joannas, you were talking about this at the end of your slides. So maybe just to clarify it.
Sorry, I was engaged with the chats. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, of course. So one of the questions was, where is the discussion happening? Is it on Meta?
Oh, that's a very good question. The answer is yes and no. The discussion is happening on Meta, but in many other places. Again, this forum where we are now, this meeting where we are now, is a place of discussion also. But yes, there is a discussion happening on Meta if the question is about Meta. And even the discussion in Meta can happen in many areas. And so I can give you an example. We have a Meta page for the MCDC. In that Meta page for the MCDC, there is a talk page. So the discussion can happen on that talk page. But there is also another Meta page for the drafts. So the Global Council draft has a Meta page, and it has also a talk page. So discussion can happen there. The hubs draft has also a meta page, and the discussion can happen in that talk page. So every meta page
لفصل المراكز. لذلك أي صفحة ميتا خاصة بموضوع الميثاق لديها صفحة نقاش.
But again,
entonces eso está relacionado con Meta, pero una vez
it's happening on Telegram. There are discussions happening in-person conferences, regional conferences, and there are discussions happening in online conversations. So we have had different online conversations in different languages. And sometimes the discussion can happen also through email. So we have an email, MCDC email, and everyone is welcome to contact that email and share with us. So that's why I said the answer is yes and no. And Seal is helping even people to find us on Meta. So wherever you want to discuss, we are there.
That's really amazing to hear. So we have many channels to give our feedback and to maybe start discussion about some topics that maybe were not mentioned before. So thank you very much, Anas, for answering that and for clarifying. Let's go to the next one, and let's talk about how new editors from economically low-ranking communities would get supported with data and stuff like that. Does anyone want to answer that? Maybe Karala, Ida, CL, any of the MCDC members? You can answer to this one. So how new editors from economically low-ranking communities would get supported with data and stuff like that.
Corona, I'm happy
Go
to
ahead,
speak
Sil.
on this. Yeah, I'm happy to speak on this. And I actually want to combine it with the question in blue. How about national communities that are not organized into an affiliate? Because I think both of these questions go back to the power of hubs. So as Anas mentioned, hubs are mutual support structures. I'll do something for you and you know what? You are great with that. I'd love for you to do that for me in return. That's the mutual support. If you want to create a leaflet in the Bangla language, it will not only be for the benefit of your regional community. There are other Bangla communities out there, or maybe communities with a different main speech, but also that would be supported in having additional languages. It's that kind of collaboration. So actually, I think that national communities that are not organized as an affiliate can really benefit from that mutual support. Mutual support is organized by already existing affiliates in the hubs, but as individual, you can definitely ask a hub for support as well. And that's where actually the new editors from economically low-ranking communities come into play. Because I know some of you may know me from Wikilost Monuments. We offer small bits and pieces of money to people that are in areas where internet might not be that common. And we reimburse costs of data if they want to do an upload workshop, because it benefits our competition and it benefits the information we share about monuments to the rest of the world. So I think hubs could actually do a very similar thing, just making it easy to ask, okay, I want to do a wiki takes in well, name a city and you know, but I need if you have some really nice buttons for me, because people like buttons and stickers, and if you could help me with maybe coffee afterwards or tea. And you know what, it would be great if we can have enough data for 10 people for 1 hour to do their photo uploads to Wikimedia Commons as well. I think actually that for me would be so essential to hubs that choose to be that supporting cluster that we've spoken about. I hope this answers both post-its in one.
Thank you very much, Cial. It was really amazing. And I think it's very important for all of us to hear that if we have some kind of need, like example, maybe do not have maybe not having like funds to organize something, it's very important to reach out for help, and with like a planned activities and with everything, like with a good will to organize something. I think we all need to reach out for help, and that's why we are here today. We have one also very interesting question, and that is, what is the relationship between the movement charter and the movement strategy implementations? So does anyone want to answer this question?
This one is probably for me because it's a really high level one, not so directly related to charter. So as I mentioned previously, we have the strategic direction on a really high level, and then we have movement strategy recommendations and movement strategy principles, 10 of them, and there are several recommendations around different areas, how we can increase the sustainability of the movement, how we can improve the user experience, about the improvement of trust and safety features, safety, providing for safety and inclusion, as well as capacity building, etc. One of the core recommendations is a fourth one: ensure equity in the decision making. And as I said previously, the movement charter effort and also actually the Global Council and hubs effort, which are defined in the charter, are outlined in these recommendations. It is done on a rather high level, so we kind of need to interpret what will be exactly in the charter, but essentially the first section of that recommendation is a one that really grounds and is a foundation for developing a movement charter. And basically with a movement charter work, we are basing ourselves on that recommendation: ensure equity in the decision making and delivering a movement charter for the future of a movement to define clearly the roles and responsibilities across the movement. So the movement charter drafting committee is a result of implementation of that recommendation. Regarding the implementation of other recommendations, there are efforts in Wikimedia Foundation across affiliates, across the movement, to also drive forward the other matters. And in some cases, these implementation efforts are closely monitoring what is happening on the charter track. So for example, we just talked about the hubs. Regarding the hubs, because they are supposed to be defined in a movement charter, we are really, really closely connecting the work of piloting and experimenting around the hubs to the charter work, and try to ensure that the hub piloting informs what will actually be written up. And also we hope to have the charter drafts, as they are evolving, providing more clear guidelines for anyone who is interested in piloting of a hub. So that's a very, very clear connection. But there are connections elsewhere. For example, regarding funding for underrepresented communities, we expect some of the policies being funded in the charter itself. So we also are monitoring other recommendations and implementation efforts where this is relevant. I'm complete for now. I can elaborate if needed, but yeah, I try to be brief regarding that answer. I'm complete.
Thank you very much, Karel. And I want to thank all of you for asking your questions in the chat or in the Jamboard. We will continue our discussion, and like for the rest of this learning clinic, you will have the opportunity to talk with MCDC members and to clarify your thoughts, but also to give your feedback. So now we will move to the next part of our learning clinic.
Can I address one more?
Yes,
yeah,
please.
Corona, can I address one more question that is on the Jamboard? Because I think it's a question that many people have, because I've heard it a few times. What is the difference between a user group and a hub? It's like, oh, that whole affiliate structure, right, that we have on the Wikimedia Foundation. I remember it took me, I think, at least a year to understand the difference between Wikipedia and Wikimedia. Oh my God. So affiliates are chapters, user groups, and thematic organizations. They are all recognized by the affiliate committee, who reports to Wikimedia Foundation Board of Trustees. What they are allowed to do is different. So it's all in the legal requirements and also the benefits of what is allowed, the difference. A user group can be formed just within your community, like with a group of friends, and you know, you want to have some easy processing, but you'll be allowed less because you don't have to form a legal entity in your own country. Because only when you're a legal entity in your country, you will be allowed to become a chapter or thematic organization. So it's all about these kind of differences in levels of what is legally on one side required, and on the other side, what is what are you allowed to do in the legal context. And for hubs, we know that sometimes those legal aspects are so much of a challenge in certain areas. And this is actually one of the things that hubs will hope to address in the future. You know, if you're not allowed to legally register a Wikimedia Foundation affiliate, because, oh my God, that's an organization from America. You know how difficult that is, you know? If you're not allowed to do that in your country, maybe a regional hub can actually help, because you know, maybe it's a way to still get those funds, the support to your region. So that's the idea behind hubs, but the basic answer is it's all in the legal definitions.
Thank you very much, Cial. It can be confusing with the structure of Wikimedia affiliates, with hubs, with chapters, user groups, thematic organizations. So it takes a little bit of time to catch on all the things that we need to know about that. So thank you for clarifying. It's very important to know that in this scenarios, we can also reach out to regional hubs. So we will continue our discussion, and you can also ask your questions in the next part of the session. And thank you all for being, for asking your questions and for asking for clarification of some things that MCDC from MCDC members. So thank you for that. Now I will stop screen sharing, and we can go to breakout rooms where we will we will open our mics, and where we can talk a little bit more. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So for the next 30 minutes, we're all going to be in breakout rooms. There will be 2 breakout rooms. This main room where we are all at with interpretation. And then the second breakout room, room 1, is where English will be spoken. And the facilitators in each room will invite participants to give general thoughts around the 3 questions on the Jamboards, page 3, 4, and 5. And each room will review the same 3 boards, same questions. So this room will go over the same questions as room 1. And approximately, it's about 10 minutes per question. And however each of us want to talk about those questions, we'll ask questions, or we'll maybe think of other things that relate to those questions about it. So give us about less than 5 minutes to make the rooms. Again, this main room right here will be with translation with translators, and then the other room that I make will be for English. So in this main room, we will have Gorana and Anas, and Nada and Francesc. And so in room 1, I will be there with Caral. So give me 1 second. And let me just put in the Jamboard link in the chat. Oh, thank you, Gorana. Okay, cool. Just again for people. So if you see your opportunity to join a room, that room that you choose will be for English. If you need translation, you don't need to go in that room, you stay here. This happened in another call, but if most of us, like 95% of us, don't need to go in another room because we need translation, that is okay. Then we will all stay in this room, which is totally fine, because that actually happened to me in Gorana today. Okay, so it looks like there's 3 people in room 1. 2 people now. I'm gonna give it 3 more minutes for people to join the room for room 1. Again, that room will be for English if you do not need translation. Garal, if you want to join room 1,
I see that from supporting staff, I'd already joined.
Oh. Okay.
Then I think I'll stay there. We want, I think, 1 supporting staff in either room. So I'd already joined. I think I will stay here as a result.
Okay. No problem. Okay, then I'm gonna give it 2 more minutes for people to join the other room, and then I will head into room 1. And maybe
But it also depends on the version of Zoom that people have on their device. So I could, for instance, propose that if they want to go to the room, they request for you to place that in the breakout room in the chat. So you can, as hosts, you can
Gotcha.
help people move rooms.
Okay. Since I already have like 3 co-hosts, I'm gonna move to room 1. So I'll see y'all in a little bit.
Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you.
And Sealand and Nuss, I think it would be good if one of you then to the room 1, because you don't have MCDC member yet, and I will stay.
Is it diverse membership?
And that's how I always get inspired for new activities and new things to do. So that's really important. I don't think that all the participants are here now. So as we are waiting for all the participants to come from the breakout room, number 1, to the main room, I will announce the next part of this learning clinic, and we will have Aida telling us about some practical exercise and some practical things that we can do and how we can engage actually. So that will be really, really good to hear. So stay tuned for like a little bit less than 10 minutes more.
Hi. Sure. As it was already shared by Anas, for your feedback on the Global Council hubs and roles and responsibilities drafts, you can share on the top pages on Meta. We'll share the links, and also the Movement Charter ambassadors from different regions will be soon sharing about their sessions that they're planning. And we understand that maybe from some regions there are not specific movement charter ambassadors, but I believe you can join other sessions as well, and also invite your community member to participate there. As well, in various regional events, some of the MCDC members be present there and holding their sessions on the charter. So that's another opportunity. And as you know, this Thursday, the drafting committee had their first open session with everyone who are interested in providing their feedback and comments. So the next one will be on November 7, and you are invited to join. And for the topic of the next session, we will share prior the meeting. So
أخرى
get prepared. And also there are when there are specific questions for you to share,
وإذا ما
that will be also made
Voy a
available
compartir.
Telegram and also Movement Strategy Telegram channel, as well as on the Meta. So yes, thank you. This is in short.
Thank you very much, Ada. We had a question, is there a Telegram group? So maybe we can share a link there for the Telegram group so people can connect. We also had a comment from Anas that Wikindaba will have a session about MCDC, and you can also follow it online. Please look for Wikindaba 2023 on Facebook, #advertisement. Okay, so we also have some ads here. Okay, so I will share a Mentimeter link with you because we are getting to the end of our learning clinic today. I would really want to encourage all of you to participate in these discussions. They are really important for everyone in the movement and for our communities as well, to get bigger and to just talk about our needs and talk about the things that we need to maybe improve and to do better. Okay, so now I have sent a link of the Mentimeter. I will send it again. So you can tell us how did you like this session about Movement Charter today, how we can maybe improve it, and what is your opinion? Is it a little bit more clear about Movement Charter now after this learning clinic? So please give your feedback about this learning clinic. Tell us what do you think about it. And we all like to be better and we all like to improve. So please help us doing that. So just open the Mentimeter and give us your answer some simple questions and tell us how we did today. Was it good or was it a little bit bad? We still have 3 more minutes left, so if anyone wants to open their mic and say something about our learning clinic today, say something to our dear MCDC members or maybe to Let's Connect, feel free to do that.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Hello, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I want to say thank you very much for this learning clinic today. I am happy I was able to attend. I have been hearing about movement strategies, and at times I will go and open the link, the meta page. There are so much information there that it becomes cumbersome reading. But from what we did today, I can see it's a very simple thing. At least I have a platform now to stand if I want to go to that meta page and read it. So I want to say that today is very, very interesting. Thank you very much. And we look forward to more learning clinics like this. Some of us that are in the academia, we know what being a university teacher means. It's very hectic. So combining it with our desire for the free knowledge movement.
Thank you, Ngozi. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. It was lovely to have you in the breakout room, as well as your questions that you asked us and kept us on track for sure. Thank you so much. Nanor, you have your hand raised.
نعم أريد أن
Yeah, I would like to talk to the participant from the underrepresented group. This is happening now. It's not from the past, it's happening now. Participating in the drafting process of the charter is vital for our movement. Any volunteer, any participant, especially from the underrepresented groups, if you are a member in the governance structure in your user group, if you are not in a governance position, please ask people who are in the governance position why you are not participating. My opinion, our opinion is important. I can't speak about my opinion, it's important. I can't speak about yours, but it's still important.
Thank you very much, Nanor. I think everyone's opinion is important and the feedback. So that's why I go to Motivator. And we have one more raised hand. Can we please open your mic quickly? And then we are out of the time, unfortunately.
Thank you, and thank you for the beautiful session. I really enjoyed it. But what I want to say is everything we said in the breakout room, I've been to so many discussions like this, and I'm hoping that we'll see a real representative of people in that we really need. It's like, sometimes we feel like they don't want us. That's the truth. The way I feel sometimes that real want to see implementation, and this will be implemented. Thank you.
Thank you, Kemi.
And thank you everyone for joining us today. I wish all of you to have a wonderful weekend. And now it is a well-known messy part of the Learning Clinic. So let's just open our mics and say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for coming. And I think this was really a great Learning Clinic and great discussion. I'm looking forward to seeing you all soon. Have a great weekend.
Bye. Ciao.
Goodbye.
Adios.
يوسف بقى ودينا
مع السلامة.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao,
Cheers.
ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Adios. Bye, everyone. Happy Saturday.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Buenas noches. Good morning.
Buenas noches para mí.
Good morning for me. Have a
Stop
wonderful
the
weekend,
recording.
all of you.